You hinted at a couple of things that probably would answer my next kind of throughout question. And I suppose raising small children might be one of them. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but
Girl.
the biggest challenge in this journey, what was it or what is it for you?
So I like spooning. I like
This conversation, I'm not prepared for it.
I just keep throwing curveballs.
I love it.
So my two top love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch. So I have to say physical touch is up there on the struggle because I'm pretty self-sufficient in many ways.
Girl, so you ain't in the money.
So like I'm very good at like keeping things going. Like I home educate my 3 kids, so I'm able to generally keep a very clean house. Like and those things have actually been easier when without him. So, you know, the cleaning and the running of the home.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's sometimes when I'm lying in bed, we always spooned, and I miss that. I miss just getting spooned. Not even if it doesn't go anywhere.
This is adult conversation.
Just getting spooned. That's probably my biggest struggle.
Oh my God! Listen, I thought this was gonna be like, raising the children. But anyway,
so I did all that. You know, I was the primary caregiver.
Sometimes in marriage, we do all that still.
So for me, I actually feel less overworked.
Interesting.
As a single mom.
And even flipping it on its head, there's lots of people I've heard who said things like they were lonely whilst being married.
Yes.
So you can have someone and be lonely.
Yeah.
For me though, the biggest challenge, I'm gonna be honest about this. I don't have small children. It wasn't about the money. I would love to live in a big house because we would have had joint finances and all of that. But I don't care about all of that. I'd love a fancy car. None of that really matters or bothers me. I'll tell you what the biggest challenge is for me. Starting over when I feel like I'm old. And by old, I mean, I feel like by the time you're heading to 50, although a lot of people say you don't look 50 or you don't look like you're getting to 50, I feel like it's age or my whole concept of ageism or age discrimination. Where am I finding a new man at 50? Starting over at that age. I'm thinking to myself, brother should have left me about 20 years ago. I'd have been good. Or the only other challenge is I miss, and sometimes it's only as you go along in the journey you realize you didn't really miss the person, but you probably miss the intimacy. You miss different things, but not the person per se. And so for me, yes, that's the biggest challenge. And a lot of that I don't want to get into because we're going to now talk about how we dealt with some of those challenges in terms of the coping mechanism. So I'm throwing you right back under the bus.
Well, before we move on, I think a lot of married women, like once your marriage is over, a lot of us miss the status of being a married woman. Say what you will. I know it's the 21st century. I know, you know, women are empowered, we're working, we're doing so many things, but there is a status that comes from being married, the way people treat you when you're married and when you're not. I've noticed that's a big one, especially if you are in Northern Ireland. It's quite a religious country, right? And I've come from a very religious background. I'm not as religious anymore, but losing that, I have felt it quite a lot.
You are so right. And it brings the conversation a bit more grounded. Particularly the taboo from perhaps a cultural or ethnic perspective as well for Black women. And, you know, I'm from a Caribbean background, and when you are divorced, nobody looks at what caused the marriage to break down, like the infidelity.
They just think the woman should stay.
Should still stay. Because, it's your husband, you should forgive it. And all of that, as Black women, we're taught, and we have thoughts about resilience and what that means. You know, you keep your home, you stay, you keep your marriage. And it is so hard.
I know I am younger than you, but I can relate to starting life again. With 3 kids. I have 3 little kids, right? So whenever I think about and I have to say, there are so many elements of being emotionally unavailable for myself right now
Wow.
because I don't want to let somebody in because I have to think about my kids, right? If I bring somebody in, are they going to be good to my kids, right?
Yeah.
In whatever that looks like. And that's one of my biggest fears. So things like that, that you're just like, wow, had he left me with just one kid,
Oh, it's
you
always
know
a
what I mean?
hard he.
Yeah.
Or hard she
So
done.
yeah, so things like that. So I can relate to that.
And I've
But
seen you've been doing a little bit of work, but I've seen it on social media with, I think it's like maybe workshops with other people raising children of color.
yeah,
And I think that's very impressive
thank
because,
you.
I mean, obviously children of colors, I mean, mixed race children, within that context
Yeah,
of Northern Ireland. And I think that's impressive work. I don't know how that's been going, but
yeah, and the
sure.
workshops are for any child of color, and I hate using that term because it makes it sound like white is the default.
Yeah.
And we know that black is the default, right? Like we got
This
in Africa. It is, right? If you're being biblical, right? How does God take the dirt from the earth and it turns
This conversation, I love it.
and it turns white? It doesn't, right? The dirt of the ground is brown.
Girl, I'm hot. You're
Right.
kidding.
So if we're going biblically, right? If we are going with science, the oldest human remains were found in Ethiopia. So, stuff like that. So I hate using that term, but it's a term that's used a lot here, and that's why I use it. So whenever I'm doing the workshops, they're for any black, brown children and any parents who are raising children in a racist society, because let's face it, that's what it is, and it's increasingly becoming more racist. Children are being bullied in schools all the time. I took my kids out of school because of that. And children are being bullied everywhere. And so I'm very passionate about it. And I want Black people to know that we are the blueprint, and there's nothing wrong with us. And racism is absurd. It is stupid, for lack of a better word. It doesn't even make sense. It's illogical to be racist. Anyway,
Everything in this conversation today, everything. But I want to just take you back to something you said in light of, the next question I'm going to throw out. So you did say just now, you've had thoughts of, had he left you with one child, life would have been perhaps easier or better. So in that light, just looking back, is there anything that you think you would have done differently or you could have done differently?
Because I do counseling and I've read a lot about psychology and stuff, now I understand the impact of childhood on future relationships. So how I raise my kids impacts how they're going to have friends, the kind of friends they're going to have. It's going to impact how they're going to date, who they're going to marry, because I set the blueprint for their future relationship, and so does he. So saying that, I think we both came from very dysfunctional families. We had no clue about the wounds we were carrying. And so I try and hold two things. I hold two things in my hands all the time and in my mind. The fact that we shouldn't have gotten married, and also we got married and we had these gorgeous kids. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I would never want to erase that. And yet, if there were no kids, had I never experienced my kids and I knew about childhood trauma, I don't think me and him should have gotten married. I don't think we were emotionally ready. We did the whole dance of like anxious attachment. He's avoidant. We just did the whole dance of love me, and then he would pull away because that was overwhelming. And then his parents racially abused me. So had I understood racism and white supremacy and how it impacts Christianity, I definitely would have dated and married very differently. However, I am very grateful for the good times, and considering my childhood wounds, girl, it could have been way worse.
Yeah.
The people I dated, do you know what I mean? So I look at, and even the way we are co-parenting now. Like there's a girl, her name is Cecilia Regina. She's on TikTok and YouTube and stuff, and she talks a lot about decentering men and gives women advice on dating. And she says that you know if somebody married well by how well off they are when they got married. So I've been able to keep this home. He's not fighting me for this home, right? I've been able to keep the car. He's very good financially, and he takes the kids consistently. So I look at those things and I'm like, I've done okay. Do you know what I mean? We're not together.
Yeah.
And yet,
it's interesting.
he's not dragging me through the courts. He's not making my life any harder. Does that make sense?
It does.
So
it does.
I just think he has deep wounds. I have deep wounds. We just never,
So here's the bottom line. We can do different to change the course of destiny.
Yeah, that was my long answer.
It is, and perhaps people might have different comments. We encourage you to share comments of things if you feel you could have done something differently. But Maureen, it is so difficult to really pin down what you could have done differently, because even if you did something differently, you don't know what the outcome would have been, because we can't predict anything. And so for me, honestly, I was battling with two things. Like one of them was, I should have left him a long time ago, and I was the one that had the opportunity and always wanted to leave. He was the one begging me to stay. Why was I so dumb? Why did I not leave? But I loved the man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard. The other thing I battled with was, I should have left when I was younger, or when my children was younger, so that when my children were younger, so that I would have had the opportunity to raise my children how I wanted to. But then did I want to be a single mother? I mean, all of these things, it is so hard. So really and truly, I don't know, we can't predict anything at all. It's so difficult to say what would have changed. Some people can really cement in their minds what they would have changed. But we can argue about that all day. Yeah, you would have changed it, but who knows what would have been the outcome.
And you didn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think shoulda, woulda, coulda. I just think, and I have had moments where I'm like, I should have, do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this time, and yet, I didn't, and I wasn't ready. Do you know what I mean? I think I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? I think we have to give ourselves credit for we survived.
Absolutely.
We even thrived sometimes. And then also a lot of people, we don't understand trauma bonding. And that is when you're in a hot and cold relationship, and the impact that has not only on your mind but on your body. It's stored in your body, so leaving feels like a drug. Like you're withdrawing from a drug.
Absolutely.
So
definitely my experience. And we can only sometimes really appreciate what heartbreak or trauma or what healing is when you're walking through the fire. Because I was in a position many years ago where I probably would have seen women in very difficult position and be like, crying over a man. Like, why do you think you need to stay 5 years mourning and groaning over a man about your healing and all that kind of, baby, when you want it. Now you're in the fire. I'm gonna read your poem. I'm reading two pieces.
Girl, let me tell you. Yes, I get it.
But I want you to just tell me, if you can only just one thing, one lesson. What's one lesson that you learned from all of this, the journey, anything?
From the breakup of the relationship?
Yeah.
I can really see my dynamic in the relationship. I can see I can see the dynamic, the role that I played. And so I've been able to really see that. And then also that I really like my space.
That's funny. That's a plus.
So like on Friday nights, I do struggle. Like when my kids are gone on Friday night, it takes me a minute to settle down. But see, Saturday and Sunday.
So you need a visiting husband because you like spooning, but you like your space. So we.
I just like spoon me and leave.
I leave. This is an adult conversation.